Oh, I'm so excited. We're live again with the lovely Kate. How are you both?
Doing well, considering everything going on in the world.
I know. I just felt like I had to say, like, how is everything going? Because I think you've had a big, things going on in the United States. It's all change, and we've been on lockdown, and so much is happening. And I really feel like parents and the schools and everybody is just under so much more pressure. And I just really wanted to get you both back on to perhaps sprinkle a little bit of festive cheer over. I think we all need a bit of that. And at Mini Me Yoga, we're doing an advent calendar for the next 25 days, and lots of different things that we can do. And I just thought it'd be lovely to hear from the Waldorf curriculum's perspective what families can be doing over this really festive period, this wintry period. And I know there's lots of really cool stuff. So I can't wait to speak to you both about that. So welcome again. Welcome back. We're very excited. We had lots of feedback from the last interview, and people were really, really interested in this new way of, not so new way, but new to them, of educating. And so, it's really cool to have you both back on. So I'd like to start with, just talking about how how Waldorf system integrates the seasons, and especially this time of year, because I know it's kind of a special time of year. So could you enlighten us and give us some insight into that?
Sure, absolutely. Each season is really represented in its own way and really acknowledged, but winter is particularly special, and especially the month of December. And Steiner says we're going into the deepest enveloped darkness. So you can think about the darkness enveloping us. And he says also, like, this is the time where in other seasons you might have been out, like very out and being able to do, and then we're coming in. And I thought that was so interesting, and compared to like how I feel like it's been one long winter for people in a way, where we've all had to come indoors a lot of the time and be a little bit more reflective. But really the whole winter mood is in kind of a preparation and reverence. And one thing that is so particular about Waldorf education is that one of its main goals is to develop reverence. And reverence is what allows us to move away from cynicism and to be looking at the separateness. So the reverence is what brings us into connection with everything else. And December is my favorite month in the Waldorf curriculum because we get to celebrate Advent. And it's a different kind of Advent than you might think from maybe a religious perspective. But each week, there's a focus of a connection with a different kingdom. So the first week is the light of stones, the light that shines in crystals and seashells and in bones. So even in that, we start to see, or children might begin to feel that connection of like my bones, like the things that are inside of me, like that's a similar makeup of the different rocks and things that I'm seeing outside myself. So it's always trying to, again, build that bridge from like within, as within, so without. So the first week, that's what we're focusing on. And maybe we're doing different rock studies, but that's what we're calling into our focus and having it as something that we're living with really deeply in our connection. So it's a great, I mean, it's a long, I can go on and on and on, but that's the first week. And it builds from there. Yeah.
That's so cool. So these kingdoms are they in connection to the elements at all in any way? So the kingdom of rocks would be the earth, maybe, or does it integrate with that also?
You know what? It does. But what it is more specifically related to is the 4 life bodies. So Rudolf Steiner, his whole curriculum is based off of the physical, which we share with rocks and different minerals. So that's our physical body. And the second one that we see in plants is the etheric body. So that's the life force body, and that's like the architect. So we think of it as like it's what allows the plant to grow and it's like the life force. It's the one that's shaping and molding that creation, and that is we also share that with. So it's again that connection where we're seeing that connection with plants, and then the third week is related to animals. So that's my favorite one because we're starting to see that we have that connection of like, okay, we also have desires and like we can move, we're independent, but animals, that's our connection to them is that they're like, we have that same body. That's called the astral body, or that's how Steiner refers to it, as the astral body. And that's our thinking and feeling or more of our feeling life. And then the final week is the light of humankind, and that's related to our ego body, which is something we have as adults. So that doesn't really come in until the 21st year that starts to touch down for people. But that's the ability that we have to not be ruled by our desires. We're able to then have a bigger picture, and then from that bigger picture of being able to take a step back, that's where it comes in, where we have that responsibility to tend to the other kingdoms that we are also of. Like we share things, we have things in common because we have that fourth body. That's what kind of behooves us to be able to tend to them in different ways.
So that's interesting. So from a young age in the Steiner system, in December, we're really learning, or even if we already know, we are reminding ourselves that we're more than this physical body, that we are, all of these different parts of us that we need to look after, and all of these different parts of us that are responsible for how we're feeling, what we're doing, and what have you. So I'm guessing that this is it's when you say that the darkness is around and wrapping us up, you're actually doing some very deep inner work here, like going into that hibernation and going inwards and that very deep inner work as a child, which is fascinating.
And something that I love about the way that these are brought in Waldorf schools is that, we don't, it's not shared with them as like directly, right? Like the correlations, but it's like there are these intuitive inklings that are brought in. And so then children can bring that into themselves. And it just helps with their own awakening, but also with their own settling in with being children on earth, to feel all of these different bodies acknowledged and celebrated throughout this time.
Yeah, I really like that. And I suppose, it's particularly what we're going through right now, and children have, are we going to school? Aren't we going to school? Are our friends doing this? Aren't we doing this? Nothing is stable right now. We don't have anything that's, that normality that we go back to, that routine is gone now. And what, especially when we talk about, in the mystery school, we would come back into that middle pillar and that inner self, and that's great if you know how to do it, or if you have access to do it. And a lot of children don't have access to these techniques or tools. So I love the way that that Christmas and winter is a time for that, and you do that each year. And I suppose it's a great time to reflect what's happened in the year and going within and what have you. So what cool crafty things do you do over winter to like help children? Because I know there's going to be some fun in here. I know it.
Of course. There's so much fun. And one thing that you brought up about schooling as well is, this is another thing that I was just reading in one of Steiner's lectures was wisdom cannot be achieved by mere schooling, which I really appreciate. And so one thing that we try and do throughout the whole year, but particularly for Advent, is to create an experience. So one thing that we do every year is the Advent spiral or the winter spiral. And that's where we're taking evergreen boughs, or it can be anything. It depends on where you live. I've seen palm trees done, so it's like it's whatever. But you're creating this this kind of green spiral, and in the center is a single lit candle. And then I've seen families do this, and then schools of 100+ people do this. So it can be as big or small as you wish. But then each person is given a candle. Sometimes it's in an apple, but something that can hold it. And the child then walks into the spiral all the way around, lights the candle, walks back, and then finds a place on the spiral to put their candle down. And then this process is repeated until everyone is done, and then the spiral is literally illuminated. And I can't really even express the mood that's created during this time, just because children maybe for the first time are having to walk this path of light alone, but to also do it bravely and to make sure that, you know, they're still supported. They're still held in this space, but this path is becoming illuminated. So like allowing them, it sounds strange, but it's like they're physically able to walk a path of light and to find the light and to make their way back out. So again, it's important for children. We're talking about this all in a very, you know, as we would talk to adults, but for them, the truth really lies in their own experience, and they're not so into their cognitive thinking yet. That really is for later. So to be able to have that deep experience, it is just so penetrating to them, and it really does do a lot of shifts. So that's one thing that I really love.
That sounds really good fun. I really like that. And just being part of anything that brings in reverence and holiness and sacredness, as that felt to me, really honors our own royalty and our own high vibration, you know. So, you know, if we're engaging in these ceremonies or in these activities, whatever we want to call them, and it is raising our vibration, and you know, and even, you know, when you can see children when we, you know, get them to you know, maybe do a nativity play or whatever it is, and they get dressed up, or what, you know, whatever it is, they really get into that role and they get into that mode, and I really like this, is bringing the idea of raising one's vibration ceremony, doing it together, the light, and it's very special, very special. I love that. What other activities do we have that some, you know, some families could do at home, or even teachers could do at school?
Well, as someone who actually did a play over Zoom last spring, there are 2 plays that Steiner actually talks about, because there's a certain mood that's created, and there's 2 plays that go back to back. Caitlin and I actually performed this play together, the Paradise play. And Kate, I want you to guess who played what. Who do you think was who in the Paradise play? We have God, Adam, Eve, the devil. Who?
You, but Adam and Eve. No. And we can't be like gender, we're not bothered. No. Caitlin, were you God?
Yes.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And what was Lucy?
Were you the other one? Oh dear. Okay.
Yes.
I have to tell you, it was a remarkable performance, because the smiting
so well
that God had to do, there had to be a lot of love there for her and I to really go there with the smiting, and we'd always end with like, I love you, I love you, right? And then, Lucy's like,
go at it into the role.
Right.
I mean, and there's something about working in those plays that's true. Yeah, I mean, where usually faculty would perform these plays for students, but there's something about it. It's like this gift. You know what I mean? Plays are this absolute gift, and that could be something that you do. It doesn't have to be these plays particularly, but you know what I mean? That you're coming together and that there can be a performance over Zoom, like where you can bring people in and to be seen and to be living into different things. But the ones that Steiner brought were kind of these older medievalish plays that really delve deep into the folk soul, if that makes sense, where it's like, he's like, forget modernism, just like really feel into that kind of old timey archetype of what these different things are. Because they're really like, when you start working with archetypes, they are really quite real. So he starts with the Paradise play. They're supposed to be done back to back. So this one day after another. So you start with the Paradise play, which is really going away from the spiritual world. It's coming to earth. And then it goes to the Three Kings play, which is with working with the birth of Christ. And that's, again, that is kind of the gateway to return again, where like humanity can turn and shift and have their holding up reverence back to the spiritual world. So it's like showing how a way back to that.
I love that, because you know, Christmas to me and it's all about, there's got to be some kind of play or singing or something, you know. I just think it's just, you know, that all that festive cheer, and I love that whole thing of going back into the, you know, into the old type of feeling. It really gives a great sense of just how ancient and how, you know, it feels really good at Christmas, I think, to do those types of things. So it's interesting that Steiner and the Waldorf system still honors that and does that in this way. It's really nice. I love that. So for parents at home now and for teachers and what have you, working with children in the different ways, what are you doing with your families right now, and how are you supporting them through these tricky times? Because I'm guessing Christmas is going to look very different for a lot of people, and I know that, you know, us in the UK, we are very you know, we like to do things traditionally, and we like to do things in a certain way, and you know, and that involves family. You know, maybe not everybody has a religious aspect to it, but it certainly has, you know, let's all meet as a family, let's all eat as a family, let's all connect as a family. Lots of families are not going to be able to do that, and I think that is, you know, quite unsettling to lots of people. So what are you coming across right now, and how are you working with families to help them through this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what we're right now, the support that we're providing for families is we're doing max meditations twice a week. And so we have that on Tuesday nights and Wednesday night. And then we also have a couple of workshops that are coming up, because we're seeing that it's right, we're all inside again, right? And you know, to help bring some level of stability. So Lucy and I will be hosting a workshop this weekend called The Wellspring Way on Boundaries and Discipline. And so we'll be working on, you know, the preventative practices and also how to work in the moment. You know, when it comes to, you know, setting boundaries and you know, working with like our speech and your tone of voice and your posture. And we'll be diving into the work from Dr. Rudolf Steiner, as well as Robin Brown, who's also done a lot of work with curative education in the Waldorf world. And, you know, we'll talk about like the role of music in discipline. And, you know, and so it's a bit of, you know, bringing in the like the severity along with the bit of joy, and how to continue to uphold that throughout tough times. And so that's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon.
And that's East Coast time,
yes,
is it? So for us, that would be 3 p.m. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know which way to go.
I know.
So that would be at 3 p.m. and that anybody can join that. They don't have to be
Exactly.
in any kind of system at school or anything like that.
Yeah.
And how long is that workshop for?
It's for 2 hours, and we'll also be recording it too. So if you can't make it at that time, then let us know, and we can set you up with the recording. And then on December 20th, we're doing another workshop called Family Foundations, because it's these things, right? These, it's creating a mood within your home, and having things to come together over as a family, in addition to, right, meals and traditions, but what other things can we do together, and how can we cultivate that, having that nourishing time. So that'll be December 20th, and we'll post up all the links for all of those, because yeah.
Will that be about the same time as the other one, do you think?
Yeah, that one's 12 to 2. Yep, on December 20th. Yeah.
That will be excellent. So, if the viewers out there are looking for a way to integrate some of the Waldorf system into their child's life, or indeed into their school curriculum, whatever it is, this would be a great starting point for them. So you've got these 2 workshops, and they're maybe 2 hours long. Anybody can join, and they're going to receive those foundational pieces for them to start. So that's really, I feel like that's such a great thing to be able to do over this Christmas period, that because we need a different way to handle this festive period, because it's not going to be the same as we perhaps are used to. And so it's really great to have these tools, which is excellent. And sorry, Caitlin.
We have a couple of extra things too that Lucy recorded for crafts to do throughout the week, or throughout the weeks of Advent, that involve clay or plasticine. And it works with there's verses, work with each of the kingdoms. So we have those videos up for the first 2 weeks on our website, and I'll give you that link too, and then we'll send out the next 2 as we get closer. Yeah. So
that would be amazing. Everybody loves plasticine. Well, everybody apart from parents like plasticine.
No, let me just tell you, this is the best thing you've ever purchased in your life. And part of the reason, this is just a plug for Plasticine. You're welcome, Plasticine. Just because, okay, first of all, it's amazing for children because they can make anything out of this. It's not some pre-constructed thing out of somebody else's brain. They're literally able to create fully out of this. And again, you're done with it. You just smush it right back into a ball to be used again. It's just like the gift that keeps on giving. So for Advent, what I like to do is I'll do the verse with children, like the first light of Advent. It is the light of stones, light that shines in crystals and seashells and in bones. And then we make a stone. And you start really simple, because like that's the thing, is for parents and for children. You just make a stone. This could, if you can make a ball, you've made a stone, and that's like the best starting place in the world. And then if you get to animals, you could just literally, I have it like more in depth on a thing, but look, little mouse ears come out, and it's just like, great, I've made a mouse. So you could make anything, but like it's one of those things where it's so good for your fine motor skills and for warming something, and also starting to see how form is drawn out. So we're not necessarily like taking things apart and sticking them back on like a horrible Frankenstein gesture, but that we're like really, working with like primal forms, or like in embryology, like how things are developed. Like you're starting with the head and then the body, and like you're drawing it out of a ball, it's really great. So if you don't own this, like, highly, highly recommend.
So everybody now in their stockings, well, you know, the Christmas stockings, if you do that, or if not, Christmas gift box, whatever you do, everybody has to have some plasticine in it.
That's for sure. And I love how, you know, when we start working with it, right, we always work with, like Lucy had that as that beautiful ball. And it's that archetypal, again, it's that archetypal gesture of we all come from one. And then you form it into whatever you want it to be, whatever you are. But we all come from one. And it's that way that's weaving in without us having to say it.
Love it. I love it. Oh, I'm sold on the plasticine activities. Okay, so I'm in.
We'd love to see pictures or little recordings of your plasticine, and we'd love to brag about them on social media. So
I'm going to be all over that. I'm going to order some now, and I'll be doing the videos. Don't you worry. I'm very excited about that. So just to round up, we've only got a few minutes left, but can you tell us, is there anything that you want to share with us about this time, about what you're doing, about, you know, top tips to parents, anything that you want to share with us right now?
Sure. What I would say about this time and kind of the whole mood of what December is preparing us towards is to have hope again. And I feel like that's something that we don't talk about enough, where if something hasn't gone well, or it's, you know what I mean, but to have hope again for what we're doing and where we're going, and being able to, even within ourselves, see the things that maybe we've fallen on the wayside with certain things, but to have hope again that we can come to where we need to go, and that there are so many different supports that we have that can help us, and we're not alone. That's the thing, is like, you know, I mean, when I think about what darkness really means, is just separation. So whatever creates a separation and makes us feel entirely alone, that's where I feel like darkness can win. But when we're able to remember that we have all of these different aids and different people that we can look to and support us in our journey, whether we're children or adults, that's what really comes through for me at this time.
And we are, you know, we're crafting, you know, Wellspring Homeschooling to be that support for parents and for families, you know, through workshops and parent coaching calls. We have free consultations. To be that support. Yeah. Oh, you're muted, Kate.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. So if you are out there and you are a parent, a teacher, a caregiver, a grandparent, and you're looking for another way for your children, or an additional add-on to what your children are already doing, or you need some support, reach out to Katlyn, reach out to Lucy. They can do a consultation, free consultation. They have workshops, and, you know, don't leave it, because this time of the year is the perfect time of the year to get in touch with them both, because they've got lots of fun activities, loads of lovely workshops, and a great community. So thank you both for all that you're doing for our lovely children, and I can't wait to see all of the plasticine models online very soon. I'm not going to be competitive and hope you do the best.
Sure.
I know. I can't help it. Yeah, we're definitely at Mini Me Yoga. We will definitely be doing some plasticine models, and we'll definitely be posting. So if you can keep us, grade us, you know, big happy smiley faces or whatever grades you give us.
Oh yes.
Keep us all motivated. So thank you so much. And Merry Christmas to you both.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Already, yes. And have an amazing December, and we're really looking forward to seeing all of your amazing work, across social media and all the rest of it. So lots of love to you both.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Bye, everyone.